Hello, I'm Dr. Joe Iser, Chief Health Officer for the Southern Nevada Health District. I'm excited to present this video series for food handlers regarding food safety in Southern Nevada. Enjoy the videos.
Hi, my name's Jason. I'm an inspector in the Food Operations Division here at the Southern Nevada Health District's Environmental Health Division. We're making this video series to help you handle food safely and hopefully pass inspections with a little more ease. Today, we're covering temporary food establishments, also known as TFEs.
Hi, I've always wanted to have a food booth in an event and I want to do the right thing, but I'm a little confused on the process.
Sure. There is quite a bit that goes into having a food booth. Let me see if I can find an inspector to explain some of the requirements to you, and then when you're ready, I'd be happy to go over the application process.
Hi, I heard you wanted some information about how to set up a temporary food establishment at an event. I'd be more than happy to walk you through some of the basic requirements that are needed. Having a temporary food booth in Clark County has some requirements to make sure that you're serving safe food, especially in our unique climate. Let's step aside and I can show you some of the basic requirements to having a successful food booth.
Thanks, that's the information I'm looking for.
The first step is to apply for the TFE permit well ahead of time, at least 14 days before your event. There are many types of permits, which are explained on our website at snhd.info. But if you have questions regarding the permitting process, you can call us or email us. Depending on the size of the event, there might be an event coordinator. This is a person who is in charge of the event and oversees the site requirements. You'll want to contact the event coordinator to make sure you're on their vendors list and also ask about how services like water, electricity, waste disposal will be provided at the event. Our website is very interactive. You can use it to find information, submit the application, or even pay for the permit. Or you can do it here at our main location at 280 South Decatur. While applying for the permit, make sure to download or take a copy of our temporary food establishment checklist to make sure that you set everything up correctly.
Great, now that I've got my permit, what's next?
The first task is to get the food from an approved source, so you'll want to make sure you're doing it right. Bianca will tell us some more.
All food must be obtained from approved sources and prepared at the booth the day of the event. An approved source is a food establishment that has a valid health permit, such as a restaurant or a grocery store. Food must be transported directly from your permitted establishment to your booth. You may prepare food prior to the event at a permitted food establishment with written approval from the permit holder. Food stored or prepared in a private home or an unpermitted food establishment may not be used or sold at a special event. You must be able to provide same-day receipts for all your food products upon your health inspector request. If you're unable to provide receipts or invoices for the food you will be selling, you will not be allowed to use those products until you can provide documentation. Any food products that are made or stored at an unpermitted location will have to be discarded. Ensure all food products are brought directly to your booth once purchased. Make sure your food is protected from cross-contamination and stored at the proper temperature during transport.
Now that I've purchased my food and have receipts, can I start making it?
Hold on. Before you start making food, there are several things you'll need to have in place. Starting with sanitizer. We'll go over to Walandra, who will show us a little bit more.
It is important to have sanitizer towels available. You will use them to wipe up food spills and food contact surfaces to reduce germs to safe levels. There are two ways to provide sanitizer. You can use pre-moistened towelettes or make a sanitizer bucket. Most people use a sanitizer bucket. To make one, you'll need a bucket. Red buckets are commonly used in the food business to identify sanitizer. If you do not have a red bucket, just label your bucket with the word sanitizer. Water, sanitizer solution, quaterchlorine, test strips, wiping cloths. Once you have everything you need, you can begin to make the sanitizer solution. Mix the water and sanitizer in the bucket according to the manufacturer's instructions. Once the solution has been made, use the appropriate test strips to verify your sanitizer is at the correct concentration. Chlorine, which is just plain unscented household bleach, should be between 50 and 100 parts per million, while quat should be 200 parts per million or as stated on the manufacturer's label. Lastly, place the wiping cloth in the solution. Soaking the towels will kill germs between uses and help to prevent cross-contamination. Make sure to test the sanitizer concentration throughout the event and change it when it is too low or when the solution is dirty or murky. If you are using the pre-moistened towelettes, they need to be at proper concentration, so you need to have test strips to make sure. When using any sanitizer, contact time is important. This is the amount of time the surface needs to stay wet for the sanitizer to effectively kill the germs. Contact time for chlorine is 30 seconds, and quat is usually 1 full minute. If you need additional information regarding sanitizers, please refer to our videos dedicated to quat and chlorine sanitizer at the link below.
Now that you have your sanitizer set up, you'll need to set up your hand washing station. There are several different types, ranging from gravity-fed to those expensive sinks. We'll go over to Thomas, who will show us one of the more common gravity-fed types of sinks.
Setting up a hand wash station is simple. You will need the following items: liquid hand soap, disposable paper towels, a container with a spigot, a wastewater catch bucket, and a trash can. Your water will need to stay warm, so use an insulated container. It must remain between 90 and 110 degrees Fahrenheit throughout the entire event and when you prepare food. Find a dispenser with a continuous flow spigot so you can wash your hands without interruption. Fill the hand wash station with warm water. If you don't have warm water, heat up your water with cooking equipment such as a barbecue, a camp stove, or an electric burner. If you don't have cooking equipment, make sure you come to the event with warm water. A cool trick is to attach the paper towels to the water container with a bungee cord. This will secure the paper towels and prevent it from blowing away in the wind. This is how the gravity-fed hand wash station should look once it is set up. With some preparation, you will have everything you need for success. This is just one example of a simple hand wash station setup. There are many types of hand wash stations available. Just remember that you'll need to provide a container of warm water, a catch bucket, soap, paper towels, and a trash can. Don't forget to wash your hands before you start to handle food. For more information about proper hand washing techniques, please refer to our hand washing video in the link below.
Great. Now that I've got my sanitizer set up and I've washed my hands, is it time for me to start cooking the food?
After everyone has washed their hands, you can start making the food. One of the most important things to remember is keeping your food in the right temperature. So hot food's hot and cold food's cold. We'll go over to Nancy and Ace, who will show us a little more about temperatures.
Keeping food out of the danger zone is very important. It prevents bacteria from multiplying in food. Hot foods must be kept at 135 degrees Fahrenheit or above. You can do this by storing food products in hot holding units such as warmers, steam tables, or chafing dishes. Since it is a temporary food establishment, household equipment is allowed. Here's a tip. You can set up your own steam table with 2 same-size heat-proof containers of different depths. Fill the deeper one with water and place the shallower one on top. You can set this up over any flame to keep your foods hot throughout your entire event. Before keeping your foods hot, make sure your foods are properly cooked. Raw animal products must reach minimum internal cooking temperatures. Poultry, such as chicken, must reach at least 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Tenderized meats, cut-up meats, and ground meats, such as hamburgers, must reach at least 155 degrees Fahrenheit. Whole muscle meats and seafood must reach at least 145 degrees Fahrenheit. Make sure you have a calibrated probe thermometer available to check your food often. When using powered equipment, remember to talk with your event coordinator to make sure enough electricity is available for your needs. Also be aware of the weather and be prepared for the Vegas heat, cold winter days, and don't forget about the wind. If it is windy, you can use foil to create a wind barrier to keep your canned fuel from going out.
Now you know the upper end of the danger zone is 135 degrees Fahrenheit. The lower end for cold holding is 41 degrees Fahrenheit. You can keep cold foods cold in a working refrigerator or by using ice. If you are using a refrigerator, make sure you allow enough time for the unit to cool down before putting food in it. If you're using ice, be prepared. ask the event coordinator if there will be ice that you can purchase at the event, or make sure you bring enough for each day. If you would like to use ice in an ice bath instead of refrigerator, ensure you use a container large enough to allow the ice to be at the level of the food itself, or the food won't stay cold. Do not forget a calibrated probe thermometer to check food temperatures. If food has to be stored in the danger zone, you have the option of using something called time as a public health control, where food may be held between 41 degrees Fahrenheit and 135 degrees Fahrenheit if the following conditions are properly implemented. A written procedure describing how the food will be handled must be maintained in the booth and made available to the health authority upon request. Food must be marked or otherwise clearly identified with the time taken out of temperature control or with discard time, or both. Food must be cooked and served or discarded within 4 hours. And don't forget that cooling food is not allowed at a temporary event.
Thanks. You've helped
Hold
out.
on. There are a few more things you'll need to do to make sure you protect your food, to make sure your customers are getting delicious and safe food. Nancy and Bianca will show us more.
You'll want to make sure your food is always protected from contamination. There are several steps to take to make this happen. Make sure to store raw animal products like ground beef away from ready-to-eat foods like lettuce. The same ice chest cannot be used for the storage of both raw animal products and ready-to-eat foods. If you are using ice to keep food and beverages cold, make sure this ice is not served to your customers. Keep ice for consumption separate and protected. Also, make sure all ice bins can properly drain to prevent pooling of water inside your bin. Foods need to be protected from chemicals too. Store all hazardous products under and separate from food and food contact surfaces. Don't forget to protect your food from customers too. You can do this by storing your food at least 18 inches away from your customers, or by using a physical barrier to prevent contamination from touching or sneezing. For their safety, do not store cooking equipment in areas accessible to the public. If you are providing samples, you must do so in a way that prevents customers from contaminating other samples.
You will need an adequate supply of clean utensils to prepare and serve food. If washing facilities are not available, bring enough extra utensils to switch them out every 4 hours. Check with the event coordinator to find out if they will be providing washing facilities, or you can set up a 3-compartment wash station in your booth. You will need 3 basins, one for soapy hot water, at least 110 degrees Fahrenheit, one with clean water to rinse, and the third for sanitizer, provided and used per manufacturer's directions. Use this setup to wash and sanitize your utensils every 4 hours or more often if needed. Another thing you'll want to look out is for waste disposal for both your trash and your wastewater. Talk to the event coordinator ahead of time to make sure you know how and where to do this properly. And one more thing, only food handlers are allowed in the booth. No kids or animals.
Wow, that's a lot to think about. I'm learning so much.
Now that we've covered the basics of food safety, let's go over some other booth requirements. Meredith can show us some more.
There are many things to think about when planning for your booth. Depending on the menu for your TFE, you may be required to post certain signage. If you are serving alcohol, you must post a health warning regarding drinking while pregnant, which meets the requirements of NRS 446.842. You may also need to post a consumer advisory if you are serving raw or undercooked animal products. There are 2 parts to the consumer advisory. The first is called the reminder, which is a statement that consuming raw or undercooked meats, poultry, seafood, shellfish, or eggs may increase your risk of foodborne illness, especially for people with certain medical conditions. The second part is called the disclosure, because you disclose to your customers which foods are served or can be ordered raw or undercooked. Ensure that you asterisk the food the advisory pertains to and the reminder statement. These signs can be found on our website at the link below. Now for some site requirements, you will need overhead protection to protect your food from weather conditions. We are using this pop-up tent to protect ours. If the event is at night, you'll need to make sure you have enough lighting to be able to see what you are doing when it's dark. The requirement is 35-foot candles. You can use any kind of lighting you want, as long as the power in the venue can handle it.
I know that was a lot of information. Do you think you're ready to start planning your booth?
So let's see. I need to bring a thermometer, test strips, hand wash station stuff, sanitizer, and towels. Oh, and the food.
An inspector will come by your booth the day of the event to check on all of these requirements, but you can start prepping and even serving before they get there. Don't forget to reference the checklist. It has a lot of information to help you set up your booth perfectly. Good luck with your event.
Thanks. And I know if I have any other questions, I can contact SNHD at 702-759-1110.